Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at the rather awesome Redragon K617 RGB, a 60% keyboard that doesn't cost a great deal of money and is hot swappable. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so on today's video we'll be taking a look at the Redragon. This is the K617 FIZZ keyboard. Is this going to give you that little fizz downstairs? Well, hopefully it will do, especially at the price point. This is a fantastic price keyboard for those of you that want a 60% keyboard. At the moment, you can pick these up at AliExpress for some of the reason about £30, £35, somewhere depending obviously on the exchange rates, etc, etc. If you want it much quicker, then you can pick these up from amazon.co.uk and also Amazon US. A little bit more expensive, you're looking at somewhere between £40 and £50 here in the UK. But obviously, yeah, you're going to get it next day, whereas with AliExpress, it's going to be kind of like a week or so anyway. Regardless, excellent price, even at £50, definitely well worth the money. And if you look at 60% keyboards on the market, they are hot swappable, have controllable RGB, and actually have software control as well. Generally, you're looking kind of at least 60, 70, 80, and thereon. Lots and lots of money spent. This has cut a few corners in order to reach this price point, but in my opinion, there are not corners that actually make a great deal of difference, although feel free to differ in the comments section below. So we're going to go through, do a quick unboxing, show you what you get. We'll go through how you control the RGB lighting. We'll also take a look at the software that you can install. You don't have to install the software if you want to. Entirely up to you. It does work on Windows and other operating systems, etc, etc. But the keyboard itself, the lighting controls, very simple, very straightforward, and you don't need any software at all. So if you're somewhat of a Windows purist and you just want to have your Windows operating system and no RGB clutter, then this is going to work in both ways. Also, it's powered with a single USB Type-C connection, which is always good, and it is also detachable. So for those of you that want to use a specific type of cable, maybe a coiled cable, then certainly that is an option. So looking at the packaging, as you can see from the front of the box, this is the keyboard, obviously the layout as well. There are actually 5 different colours of this. Now, depending where you're buying it from, if you're buying it from AliExpress, you are going to get more varieties of colours, up to 5 different colours. There's a white and pink, a pink and white, a grey and white, and a white and grey. And also, there it is, this is the black, and there is a very slight accent of red, which is very common with Redragon products. If you're buying from amazon.co.uk, you're probably just going to get the option for the pink and the white, and maybe the grey and white, but again, I'll put some links in the video description so you can check those out for yourselves. It does mention on the front there about the switches, so this is using their Chroma RGB switches. These are actually specific to Redragon. Essentially, they are kind of clones of the Optimu switches, so if you do kind of not like the switches which are built in, which are generally the red silent or linear switches, you can swap them out for other Optimu switches. Because of the way that the actual pins are for the hot swappable switches, potentially you could use other switches, but you may need to do some modifications. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Also as well, to say high speed, high control, and also high response, which, yeah, all those lovely buzzwords. On the back of the box, it goes into some more of the features, and also to show you the keycap puller and the hot swap switch. There's also a QR code, so if you want to scan that, you can do to get more information. I will be putting links in the video description for things like the manual, the software, and also obviously links of where to buy it. Okay, so let's take a look inside and see what we actually get. So inside the packaging, obviously you're going to get the keyboard itself, which comes nicely bubble wrapped, so protect it in transit. You also get a owner's manual, user guide, all that kind of usual stuff. There's also a Redragon sticker, and tucked underneath the box in this little fold-out flap, there are your keycap puller and also your switch puller. So keycap puller, nice and easy to do. All you do is put it onto obviously the keycaps, wait for it to click into place, and then you can just pull it off. So you can replace the keycaps. The keycaps themselves are actually double shot, so yeah, they're going to be lasting quite a long time. Very lightweight as well. They do fit a little bit on the cheap side. There is a nice kind of texture to it. It's not shiny and it's not kind of coarse. It's just got enough tactile grip there, so that's really good. Again, nice and easy to take those off. If you want to remove the switches, that in itself is a lot more difficult. Now, I tried this a little bit earlier on off camera, and yeah, it is hard work. Once you've actually taken it out the first time, it's absolutely fine, but actually trying to get them out is quite hard work. So let's see if we can get this one out. Oh, that one came out quite easy. So after you've done it the first time, they're going to be absolutely fine. So you just pull the switches out. They do include, actually in the packaging, there are an additional 5 switches which are included. Again, these are the same ones, Redragon's own kind of Optimu type clones. These are rated at about 60 grams and they are linear, so nice and quiet, but also got a nice kind of thunk to them. I quite like the springs and all that in there. You can, if you want to, you can take these apart, get one of those keycap assemblers, take it all apart, lube it up to your heart's content to make them sound even better if you want to. I actually quite like the sound of them as they are from the factory, so that's absolutely fine. Underneath that you can see the PCB, again using the kind of method that they've used to attach these. The actual switches themselves are quite fine, the pins, so you do find on a lot of other switches, other brands, one of the pins is slightly thicker than the other, so yeah, trying to get that in, you may need to file those down, which is kind of probably not the thing you're going to want to have to do, but certainly you can if you want to. Although, like I said, you'll probably find that these are absolutely fine. I personally quite like them myself, but you may want to sort them out for something a little bit more clicky. So those just push back in, no problems with that. And then the keycap you can put just back on the top. Happy days. So also in the box we get the USB cable, so that's USB type A to type C, and it's a right angled connection as well, so that's going to be nice and cool when it's actually out the side of your keyboard. There's also a little bit of the Velcro wrap on there for cable management should you need to. The cable itself just plugs into the side, so you've got a USB type C port there, and that just plugs in. Happy days, nice and easy to do. Obviously connect that to your PC, install the software if you want to. So taking a tour of the actual keyboard itself, as you can see, this is a 60% keyboard. So we do get a lot of things missing. So you've got no arrow keys, you've got no number pad. It is a very small and compact thing. I guess ideally it's designed for traveling purposes, so you can quite easily just obviously disconnect the cable, stick this in your travel bag. It is exceptionally lightweight. We are looking at somewhere just a shade over 400 grams. That is down to basically the construction, so it's predominantly plastic. So the frame itself, all plastic. The actual top plate, that's plastic as well, whereas on a lot of keyboards these days that tends to be metal, which adds a bulk of the weight. But certainly it does feel very sturdy, and there's certainly a little bit of flex to it, but not a great deal, and it doesn't creak or anything, so that's always good. On the back you've got some rubber pads, so 2 rubber pads at the front, which you'd expect. And you've also got rubber pads on both sides of the feet, so you do have feet as well, so raise these up so you can raise the angle of the keyboard up if you want it to be a little bit more upright, or if you want it flat you can put it down, and either way it does stay firmly planted on the desk with those rubber pads, which is awesome. Something I should point out, this is only available in the American English version. There is not a UK version, so for those of you that want to type in a pound sign, which is our UK pounds, not the hash key as often referred to in America, you're going to struggle. That is one of the downsides if you are in the United Kingdom. Potentially there's other ways you can get around it by obviously cutting and pasting, but yeah, that could be kind of slightly problematic. There is a piece of software which does come with this, which you can install, where you can actually change what keys do and change the modifiers. So potentially if you wanted to, you could actually change it so that with the modifiers for maybe the dollar key, you could change that to the pound sign. Again, that's probably going to be down to the individual, or perhaps use one of the other keys that you don't generally tend to use a lot. If that is going to be potentially a problem, obviously as well, the layout is going to be different. So the @ key and the pound sign are going to be in various different places. That's the hash key, not the pound sign, if you kind of get where I'm coming from. So anyway, that is a tour of the keyboard and what it's all about. So again, yeah, nice switches. I should give you a sound test actually before we plug it in. So let's have a listen to what it actually sounds like. As you can tell, there is a little bit of a kind of spring noise. You can definitely hear that. Bit of an after effect there. What you can do if you want to limit that, obviously you can potentially just put the feet up a little bit. That will reduce it ever so slightly, just changes the tone. What some people have done is actually remove the keys. There's about 9 screws, take out the screws, and actually you can fill the deck with foam. So use some like, I think it's UVB foam or something. You can just get that. Even the packaging foam that the keyboard generally comes with, obviously not bubble wrap, but that kind of packing foam. Put some of that in there, put some layers of that in there, and that will soak up that noise entirely. Potentially we'll do a follow-up video to this, actually doing that, and perhaps even actually lubing up the switches and changing the stabilizers, lubing those as well. The stabilizers actually I find to be really good, and they do feel very nice on the larger keys, so yeah, overall, I think it's really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug it into my PC. We'll go through some of the lighting effects. I'll show you how to do them all manually, first of all, actually on the keyboard itself using the function key. And then after, we'll take a look at the software on the PC and see how you can make modifications in that respect. Okay, so the keyboard is plugged in now. As you can see, it is illuminated. And actually, just to show you what it's like, there is like a kind of startup routine that it goes through when you plug it in for the first time. There you go, it just goes through and then it will load up your previous settings. So if you have actually put on some type of setting, which, I don't know, you've set up some custom thing, then it will still carry on and it will remember your settings. There are actually 3 profiles which you can bake into the system itself, and you can choose which one of those obviously that you use on startup. If you're using the software, you can obviously save that profile and reload it, etc., but it will generally follow you around in terms of things like your macros and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at the color options. So in order to change the colors, function key and the Alt key, which is right next to it. So press that, and then you can cycle through the various options and lighting styles, of which there are many. And actually the lighting is actually really good. It's quite bright as well. If you want to change the brightness, you can press the function key and M, and that is off. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. When you get to level 4, you'll notice that the control light flashed. That is a warning to say that you've reached the extremities. These are cyclic or cycle type controls, so there isn't a separate up and down. Just one key does the lot, so it just cycles through. So press it again, turns off. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's on the brightest setting. Again, control key has lit up. If you want to change the speed of the addressable RGB per key, then press the function key and the back arrow, which is this one here. So at the moment that is flashing, so that tells us on the fastest cycle. Press it again. Yeah, basically you can go through. Probably not the best pattern to show you on, so let's change the pattern. So this is going to be one of the per key ones. Function key, Alt key, and that will take you through. You can cycle through all the various color options. There's obviously color wheels, all that kind of stuff. Per key lighting. Lots of options there. If you want to select a specific color, so if you want to just have solid illumination, so what you want to do is to cycle through until you find one of these which is solid and static, which there is one eventually, which we'll find. There we go. So that's a solid one. So then you can press the function key and the space bar and keep the function key held down. All of the palette is what is actually visible on the keys themselves. So if you press H, then it changes to the color which is on the key H. Press function, spacebar again, reverts back to our palette. So if we want to choose white, we can press Control, and then we get white. Press it again, press the spacebar. What do we want this time? Let's have Mike's Unboxing blue. Press A. So well, yeah, that's kind of close. Anyway, you get the general idea. So you can go through, change all your settings like that. Obviously, because this is a 60% keyboard, if you want to do any of your function keys, then you press the function key or the Alt modifier, and then you can use that to do F1, F2, F3, which are all printed along the top. All of those are printed on as well, so you can see what they do. So you've got insert, delete, home, end, page up, and page down, which are there. So those you can use with the modifier key. Obviously, spacebar is to change through the settings. R for recording macros. If you want to reset the keyboard back to its defaults, then press and hold the function key and press the escape key. Keep that held down for about 5 seconds and it'll reset all the lighting and all the functions back to their factory defaults. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, overall I think this is a really cool keyboard. But what is even cooler is the fact that you can actually use software with a keyboard with as many functions as this and actually still use software, which blows my mind. So let's take a look at that next. So now, unfortunately, because of the fact we're doing this on a 4K screen, the scaling is actually pretty hideous. So this looks tiny, so I'm going to have to zoom in here, and also it's actually quite difficult for me to see. But yeah, you've got the same thing. So you've got the 3 profiles there. You've also got your macro editor, and down here you've got options for export profile, import profile, and also restore. So that's restoring your factory defaults. You've got OK, cancel, and apply for your settings, which you put up here. You've also got options for static colors from this default palette or from any of the RGB values here. So let's go into profile number 1 and we'll click apply. And so that would be setting that. This is all the different options we've got. So loads and loads of different color options there. You can go through and choose one which you particularly like, or if you want to, you can just turn the whole lot off, should that be your thing. You can set define as well, so you can choose individual keys and give one each its own RGB value, or just all red or all blue or whatever you want to do. The choice is entirely up to you. There are different definition styles as well, so for different games which kind of have certain default characteristics. So yeah, that's all good. You can choose obviously your base color. Yeah, do whatever you want to there. It's pretty flexible. So let's go back to rainbow. Actually, where is the one that we normally have? I think it's that one. No, not that one. It's the circular one. I can barely read this because it is so small. Rainbow scroll. That's the badger. So we'll put that into speed number 4. Sorry, brightness level number 4. I apologise. And speed, we'll tune that down to number 2. Hit apply, and that's going to send the settings to our keyboard, and it's going to be stored into profile 1. So there we go, there is the Redragon, or I'm not sure if it's Redragon or Redragon, because there's only one D. Maybe someone let me know in the comment section. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, great keyboard. I should actually say big shout out to Ugly Bob for sending this one over. It's awesome. You can't really complain. It ran about £30 if you're getting from AliExpress, obviously a little bit more expensive if you want it quicker, which is the way things generally tend to be. But yeah, if you want a 60% keyboard, you want it to have hot swappable switches, which you can swap out. Now, I should say, complete disclaimer, when I did actually use this for the very first time, the H key, I believe it was defective. So the very first thing I had to do was to swap out a switch. But like I said, fortunately, they are including switches in the box, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you do have a switch fail, it's absolutely fine to swap it out. They do have somewhere around about 50 million keystrokes is what they're rated for. So yeah, take that with a pinch of salt, because no one's ever going to test that, but certainly that is what they're rated for. But yeah, overall, I like it a lot. Really well stabilized, very lightweight, very portable, compact. It's almost perfect. I'll be honest with you, it is very much almost perfect. The only thing for me personally, being someone who's in the UK and obviously with what we do, making YouTube content, we do work in pounds quite a lot. So not actually having a dedicated pound key straight off the bat is a little bit unfortunate. And like I said, there is not at present an option for this with a UK layout, which yeah, is a little bit unfortunate. But I think for probably 90% of the rest of the world, it's going to be absolutely fine. So anyway, that is the K617 or FIZZ. Did it give you a little fizz down below? Let us know in the comments below. I'll be Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.